Friends, how are you doing? It is October 7th in the morning here, and we are going to get this market up and see what's going on with it. It just keeps going. We just keep going into this cycle of things are great, and there's a little bit of, waves here and there, but these waves aren't destroying the village that we have made here, this huge city, which essentially is this bull market, this Trump train of the stock market. And Lord knows I'm not trying to talk politics by any means, but the stock market's rolling, and it doesn't look like it's, what are we up against here? So with that, what happened today in the stock market? The biggest news was that OpenAI AMD partnership working out there. AMD soars. I mean, look at that jump. I mean, that is what, and obviously Monday, this is what drove the market. I mean, just absolutely freaking nuts. Look at that jump. That is a crazy, crazy jump for AMD. I mean, that was a $165 stock on a good day. Now it jumped. I mean, obviously there will be sell off, no doubt about it. But there will be new levels made with AMD. That's huge. So crazy, just crazy. But I want to talk about Sofi. I'm still, I want to document Sofi. I love talking about Sofi, and people are like, why are you talking about Sofi every day? I'm talking about Sofi every day because I'm so interested in Sofi. I'm so obsessed with where this company is going because, it's a very unique situation on what we're seeing right now. It's that, we get to watch fundamentally this company be built right in front of us. It's really interesting. And as investors, we essentially get to be a part of it. So it's really interesting. So today, let's go into the stock and see what's going on here. And, what are we looking at here movement wise? AI stocks were really controlling the market Monday. And, obviously it's Tuesday morning. So we'll see what kind of takes place here. But Sofi, it had a good day. It jumped back up into this high $26 position, trying to get back to a 27. And it just made it over, trying to get to, I think it made it to 27.11. And that was the highest it went. And then it fell. That was around 1 o'clock yesterday. And then we had some sell-off. So it's obviously it's hitting this place where it's starting up again. And this week is probably a good indication of what's coming here because we know the Feds are going to talk a little bit this week, not much. Obviously, the whole shutdown is still going on and all that, but it is very interesting that we're in this place where it's just a weird time in the market and no one really can give you sound, solid advice of what's going on. They just can't. It doesn't matter, from JP Morgan to Jimmy, no one's going to give you solid information because this is just unknown territory for the market. It really is. But Sofi here, we've already paid $30 for Sofi. That's what's so interesting. And right now, I think that was kind of telling us that was pretty much a flag saying, hey, this is what we can go to comfortably. And, people don't mind paying for that. They obviously don't mind paying $30 for Sofi. And there's probably, really strong, argument that we'll see that again here very soon. What is interesting is just, what is this month going to bring us here with Sofi? And I do believe that, this is a situation where we're going to see the Feds be forced again to do these rate cuts, it looks like, because what little bit of paycheck job report we saw last week come out was a strong indication, like paychecks are, how many people are getting paychecks is low. It's not as strong as they thought it was going to be. So that's a strong indication jobs are not there. Now, obviously, who knows when, if, where we're going to get job reports for September. They just may not come out and the Feds may just be kind of forced into, I'm sure, obviously the Feds say they don't know, but I'm sure they have some indication of what's going on. But it's going to be interesting. Obviously, today we're supposed to hear from Jerome, so we'll have more understanding of what's going to happen here. So this could be a very interesting day for the market once again. Really, 2 rate cuts, I think, is pretty safe and sound to say we're going to get 2 rate cuts here. We had the first one. Now we're at the end of October here. We're going to see what the second one. It'll probably be another 25 basis point, cut here. Good, great. Fantastic. The market's already showing signs of, it wants that and it's pricing that in, obviously. December 1, more than likely, 25 basis points is not that big of a deal. It's not that big of a deal. So for them to do 3 of them, big deal, it's not that huge here. But the market wants it, and more than likely we're going to get that. It's really interesting because, the S&P is just this uncontrollable, just train right now. And it's really interesting to see where people are at with it. I look at SoFi and I go that this is such a special moment for people. It's such a special moment because the stock it's showing us what it wants to do. It's showing us that it's trying to get to, higher numbers. And two, with that, the quarterlies are coming up here, and it's going to be interesting to see how thick these quarterlies are going to be. SoFi has really aggressively found a lot more business this year, a lot of deals. But two, I'm very much wrapped up in this AI movement, but this crypto movement. And crypto and AI go hand in hand, definitely. And, AI and crypto and banking go hand in hand too. So you have SoFi here, who is not an AI company, but they very much push into technology with their banking system. I mean, and I've said this time and time again, like, if you don't have a SoFi account, but you are a SoFi investor, I would just say, like, hey, it's free. Start an account with them. It really, it lets you understand why SoFi is becoming such a popular company with, the younger generation, anywhere where anyone's at in the generation here, age-wise, because it's so easy to use. I mean, you literally download their app. You don't need any money to do it, and you see what's there in front of you. It's really interesting what they are pushing into as a company, because it explains a lot more. When you get to see what the big deal is about a company, and it's right there in front of you, like boom, boom, boom. Literally, this is why they are not worrying about a brick and mortar store. They're worrying more about their technology. And I remember 4 or 5 years ago, people were saying, like, I don't get this SoFi thing. I don't get it. I mean, yeah, they're doing good on quarterlies. Projections are good, and if they can do what they want to do, pushing into a bigger bank system, which undoubtedly they've proven to do that so far, things could turn around. Well, things have turned around. That's what's so interesting about it. But saying that, opening an account with SoFi is interesting because it does allow you to see what's going on over here with it. And it's it really shows you the dark spots maybe that you're not seeing. It really flashes a light on them. So October 28th is when we are supposed to see this quarterly with SoFi. And I'm excited to see it because I like when, we hear from Anthony, the CEO of SoFi. I like what, he's one of my top CEO guys that I like to hear about, that I like to hear from. I obviously love to see when Alex Karp talks, and I love to see when Anthony talks, because what I find interesting about two of those two people is that they talk about the broad view of their business. And Alex Karp is famous for, Alex Karp, the CEO of Palantir. Alex will talk a lot about just the broad view of AI. He's famous for doing that. It's really, obviously he talks about Palantir, but he really talks about what is going on in the sector. What are we looking at here? And what is the mutation going on right now? Because I think there is a mutation going on in the market right before us. And Anthony, the CEO of SoFi, is really famous for doing this too, where he obviously talks about SoFi, but he also talks about what SoFi and the banking business what it's turning into, along with AI. This is why Robinhood and SoFi are becoming two of the most biggest banking stocks right now. It's really interesting to watch. I mean, I don't think this time last year, if I was yapping my mouth about it. Robinhood has went far beyond my expectation of where that stock needs to be price-wise. I mean, it is so overbought. It's insane. But there's reasoning behind it. I mean, obviously the whole market's, moving at an incredible pace. Robinhood's done a lot of unique things here to really push into some different avenues. It's a very popular stock. And SoFi, I definitely, SoFi's finally getting recognition at this point too. And it's very interesting what we could see, transform here with this stock, just at the next 3 weeks what's going to happen here with the market, where the market's shifting into. But even talking about that mutation here, this is something I personally am noticing with the market. I think the market is mutating for next year. This is why I think you're seeing a lot of attention go to robotic stocks, tech stocks, and obviously they're all kind of in the same barrel, but it's really one in the same conversation here. Data centers, quantum computing stocks, and two, then you have this lonesome survivor out here, essentially this new bank, this new system right now, which is SoFi, who is doing kind of the old same business model here with banking, but they're bringing it into a much more newer, slick environment, and they're bringing tech with it. So it's very interesting to see how this is morphing right in front of us. So friends, I know this is kind of a broad view talking about SoFi, but I think it's very important to, when you look at what's going on with SoFi, it can explain what's going on with the stock pattern too. SoFi going to $30. Okay, yeah, we've been there. I think what more we're looking at here is that SoFi, obviously is looking for bigger numbers. It's looking for that. And two, it seems unfair that, for people that are, I don't know who's doubting against SoFi anymore. There's always people that go against the grain, and that's fine. But what we're about to see here with what's coming out with potential rate cut, quarterlies come out, it's not even kind of fair about what we're about to see with SoFi, because quarterlies come out the 28th. So I would highly expect that SoFi is coming out with another aggressive quarterly. And then on the 29th, that's when that rate cut's supposed to be announced. So that is going to be a very interesting position to be with the overall, where you're at with SoFi. So I'm very curious to see what can take place in that moment with SoFi. It's going to be really interesting. So friends, just another, talk about SoFi. I think it's such an interesting just such an interesting stock, because it's still undervalued. That's what's interesting about it. It's not at its full potential. It's not running on what I think we're going to see soon enough with it. That's what's so interesting. So friends, with all that said, I am going to stop talking, and I wish all of you the best of luck with what's going to happen today in the market, and I will talk to you soon. Bye everyone.